So two of my teammates, Trenton Dees and Brandon Crutchfield, top 16 at Nats, right? And I'm so happy for them. I'm so happy for Team Rays. And I'm actually able to show you guys the deck profile that these guys did for me to show you guys. Well, let's get to it.
I'm just up in my sway. Stay in my bag, I got plenty for days. Chief and that Zod don't come with no haze. Jewelry all on me, it's wet like a tray. Addicted to pay. Know all the steppers, no kidding in play. Look at my team, see all of us made. Came a long way for minimum wage. Hey.
Action.
Alright, so we're here with the deck list from our top 16 nationals over here. Trenton from Team Rays. Trenton, is there anything you want to say before you get into the deck list?
Just pretty standard mono red list that is a lot of different than a lot of the red yellows that tried to top and then failed. So first up, just we got the leader, we got the 1-star ball. Pretty simple, self-explanatory. If you play the deck, it's just rest, search your deck for 2 cracked Dragon Balls, and you add them to your hand. You can get it from deck or life. Pretty simple enough. Once you have 6 Z energy, not 6 Dragon Balls, which means even if you combo up to the 6th, you can still awaken. You get the front side, you get the back side, which is on attack. You draw a card, and then he has the active main once per turn by negging one of my my Shenron battle cards. I am allowed to neg 15 to one of their battle cards or unisons. First up in the build, for Gogeta Unison, the Gogeta Unison just allows you to net way too much advantage. In most matchups, there's not really anything else to say about it. It lets you play all of your 2-drops for free because your 2-drops are 1-drops in hand. And it also lets you on play like a top 3, so you can grab your secret, your 8-drop, any negates or counter plays, your super combos. It does it all with style and grace. Next up, we have the 6 cracked Dragon Balls that say when they're activated, they go straight to Z energy, and they allow you to draw a card to replace themselves. So, free Upstart Goblin for people who play Yu-Gi-Oh! Next up, we have some blue hate. We have 2 Broly Crowns in the main. Just everyone knows what this card does. It basically looks at blue and just says, hey, let me get free knowledge of your hand. Also, any floodgates, I'm just going to get rid of them. Because if your opponent has 2 or more open energy, I can look at their hand, grab a card that's grab a battle card that's 20k or less, and send it to drop. Next up is where my build differs from a lot of other Sin players. I run Raditz super combos. With how this deck is designed and played, you want to be at low life, especially because of your Z leader, and what better than a super combo that not only lets you fix your hand by getting rid of dead cards and bottom decking it, but also just lets you draw 2, lets you dig deeper for your cards that you need. Like I said before, counter plays, other super combos, you name it. First battle card, for Shadow Dragon battle card, we have the Ice Shenron. Very good card. I mainly used it as a charge target unless I was playing against a deck like any blue decks that you want to crit them to where you don't want to give them hand whenever you're rushing them aggressively early. But it has the ability of I can tap 1 energy if I have 6 Z energy, which if you have the 6 cracked Dragon Balls, you're going to have 6 Z energy because it just sit there. It plays itself for 1. And then it has the ability of if your opponent has 2 or more energy, when it would be removed by one of my own skills, it can replay itself from the drop area and it gains critical for the turn. So main combo you do with this, you play it, you swing with it, active mana the leader to neg 15 to this, comes back, and now it's 15 crit. So it's dual attack, but not dual attack in the sense. Next up is the one I mainly played a lot, was Nova Shenron. Ran 3 of it. Almost never charged this just because it's too good. It does the same thing of tapping 1 to play it, but it also has the second effect of when it would be removed by one of my skills, it comes back and I get to draw a card. So he's essentially just replacing himself. And as you're going to see with the rest of this build, almost every single card in this deck replaces itself, so you're constantly going even. or you're constantly plussing. There is nothing better than that. First up in my as well is that another thing that differs. I run 4 of the Supernatural and Shenron. It's your typical check top 5, grab a Shadow Dragon 4 or less, or I can grab any unison of specified cost of 2. So I can look at for my Gojitas. This is the perfect turn 1 play to grab your Gogeta unison if you don't have it, or if you can see your super aggressive turn 2 4-drop Shenron with Double Strike. Next up, we have one of the MVPs against blue. You have Oceanus. Not only is it also a 1-drop, by the way, all of these 2-drops have the permanent that says if your leader is a Shadow Dragon, they cost 1 in hand. So that's what allows you to play them for free off of the Gogeta Unison. Oceanus, whenever it is played, I get to draw a card, and then I'm allowed to send a cracked Dragon Ball from my deck to Z Energy. So if I'm missing balls off of leader to awaken, I can always just tap 1, or I can +2 unison play this, and I get a draw and I get a ball into energy. I'm netting a lot of good resources. It has a second active main of if my opponent has 3 or more energy, I can send it from my hand or from my field to the drop, and I can give one of my Shadow Dragons barrier. So it's really good for giving your 8-drop barrier to just avoid a lot of pesky, easy removal. Next up is the MVP of every game, because this card is not fair, it is not balanced for the deck, and is most likely going to be the card that is going to get hit. Same thing that Oceanus does. Whenever he's played, I draw a card, and I send a cracked Dragon Ball from my deck to the Z Energy. However, he has the active battle effect of I can send him from my hand or field to drop, and I can give crit to any of my Shadow Dragons for the turn. So it's very strong. You can give it to one of your cards ahead of time into a dodge removal. Some more blue hate. We have Omen of Awakening. Card is just really good, especially if you're running the Gogeta package. It's a denial of hope for 1 energy. Also, you crit yourself alive, so if someone's wanting to starve you of energy, starve you of your life, you can slowly get down to 5 or even to 6, so that way you can play the Vegeta Z battle card to put yourself to 5, and then at that point your blocker negates are live. Speaking of, we run 3 of the blocker negates. Who doesn't love free negate that is free, especially in this deck? It is negating the attack on your unison, battle card, whatever you want, and it's giving you a blocker token. Very strong card. You run it at 3 so you can see it. Also, you can charge it too if you'd like. Next, we play the second secret for the deck. We play the 1 Yamcha counterplay. This card shouldn't have been hit. It was hit though. Bandai, who knows? Everyone knows what it does. Plays for free if you have a unison with 2 markers. And then counterplay, you neg 15 to 2 battle cards. Very strong. The other card in the deck that is most likely going to get hit, you have the 4-drop Shenron Red Destroyer. It has the ability to play itself for 1 if I have 6 more Z energy or I'm a Z leader. And it draws me a card in the active main. So even if it is counterplayed, I'm still getting the +1. I'm still getting the even to draw a card to replace itself in my hand. It is a 20k double striker that I play for 1. Combo that with this. I can have both of these on my opponent's turn. I swing with a double striker. I give it crit. They're taking 20 double strike crit, and I didn't waste a single card in my hand to deal double strike crit to my opponent. Not many people at that point or in time are going to want to waste 3 cards. It guarantees a negate if they don't want to waste 3 to 4 cards in their hand to stop. Very strong. The fact that I can play this while you only have 1 energy as well, also strong. It has the second auto of I can retire one of my Shadow Dragons, and I can neg 22 a battle card or unison, so it's really helpful for getting rid of the pesky Bunison for blue. Next up, we have the Rage Shenron. It is a free negate if you're on your Z leader, and it's a blocker, and he is critical, and he's like free negate attack. And especially with this deck, once you hit down to your 3 life, you can stabilize really easily. This deck is really good at stabilizing. If once they get to their 3rd or 4th energy, they can do a lot of things. The big boss monster of the deck, we run 4 of the Omega Shenron Ultimate Retaliation. It is a 30k big beat stick with triple strike, and it has deflect, and it comes out for only 2 energy if I have 3 or more energy, so very strong. And then also with a lot of red being in the meta as well, if it were to get negged, it gets plus 5,000 power instead, and before if it would be negged in general. So anyone who wants to try and get rid of it by lowering its power to swing at it, it's instead just going to go up to 35. So it's big beat stick, as well as it has one of the most safest active battles of I can choose a battle card or unison to neg by 3k for every Z energy. Very strong. It can also be free played off of your Z leader. And then also for the secret, it's Vegeta. It's a board wipe, it burns 1, and it ignores barrier. It's a triple striker, and it's everything. This card's been good since release in every red deck.
How many times did you get that sparking 25 off?
So here's what you can do. Because of when you Z Awaken, you're removing 7 cards from your Z energy, so that's 6 Dragon Balls plus 1 extra. That's 7 cards added, and then by the time you're at 4th energy, if your opponent's wiping your board or if you're comboing, I probably got the Sparking 25 off at Nats probably 4 out of my 11 rounds that I played, both day 1 and day 2. So most times you're never really swinging with it unless your opponent is tapped out, because how else are they going to remove it? And if your opponent ever is tapped out when you're playing this and they're at 4 life, they're trolling. I don't really know what else to say. For my Z deck, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 of the card that needs to be errated. Way too strong. The fact that you can have 1 energy and this card can be live because it says I have cards in my Z energy to restand it. So first off, it has deflect. It comes out for 2. On attack, I get to combo with a card from my drop area. So he's replacing, every time, if he gets both swings off, he's replacing the Z energy that you spent to get him out. And I get to neg 15 to a battle card or a unison. As you can see with this whole deck, if the unison is on board, you're doing something wrong. But it also has the most threatening of, if you have 4 or more Z energy, he can activate to restand himself, get 10k, double strike, and barrier. So now when you swing and you combo a card from your drop area, he's 30 double. And if you're doing this turn 2, it's really hard for your opponent to stabilize. So, I mean, it's pretty lackluster. You run the 1 of burn card, your opponent has 4 life, you just it comes out, burns him for 1, and he gets barrier on play by itself. So he's a double striker, deflect, and he gets barrier to get around a lot of like bottom decking of boos or other blue card hate. The 1-drop Vegeta, it just puts a card from your hand to the bottom. You take a life and you draw a card. So if someone wants to keep you at 4 life or at 5 life and you want to turn your super combos on, or if you want to make it to where you can Z Awaken, there you go. And then last but not least, you have the Z Leader. The Z Leader, you pay 7 Z energy for it. You don't have to pay any energy to play it, and it comes out when you have 3 life, as well as on attack auto, and it has a second ability of you can neg one of your battle cards by 20 to neg one of their battle cards by 20. And then you can move those 6 Dragon Balls to play any Shadow Dragon for free. So most of the time you're just playing the E-Trot for free. Just gonna get into the side deck real quick. Super simple. Run the one of extra Burly Crown just for those blue matchups. You have Nimbus Voyager for yellow, and anyone in any blue deck that wants to be running the 6-drop Goku that forces you to swing at it. Because of how this is worded, whenever he swings, you can then send him to the drop area, and if the card that he swung at in rest mode was 20k or less, it is KO'd. It's not choosing it, so it gets around pesky barrier. For my mirror matchups, I have Is That All You Got? Especially if you're going second in the mirror matchup, this card is way too good. Your opponent negs 2 cards because you're negging 15 to 2 of their cards, so you're getting rid of their critter and you're getting rid of their turn 1 play. So it's super good. Next up, both of these are for the same matchup reason. This is for the mirror matchup as well for the 2-drops, but also the main reason I had these was for the pesky turn 2 kill Gogeta deck that was running around, which we surprisingly only saw one of at top 32. Next up, you have the brand new Son Gohan rare. It's super good against decks like Yellow Bardock or any other Swarm deck. It just negs 10 to up to 5 cards, and if it negged 5 cards by 10, he then gains 10 and double strike. So, and he comes out for 1 active main and active battle, so I can play it on my opponent's turn. Very good. And then I mainly had this because I was expecting to see a lot of SS3s, but this is the old Vegeta Kaba promo. What it used to do is you could play the Kaba Unison from deck for free, but the main reason you run it is just because it's neg 30 ignoring barrier. It's just a better Kaioken for 1 extra energy, and it gets rid of the messy stuff. But other than that, I finished day 1 going 7-2, and then I 2-0'd my top 32, and then lost in top 16 2-1. Very strong deck. It does the thing. It does it right. It's super aggressive.
So if the deck doesn't get hit going forward in the future, do you think it's still going to be a very viable matchup?
Oh,
Especially with Crimson?
100%. I feel right now the whole reason why Crimson topped as much as it did is because all the pro players it flew right underneath their radar. They made sure that deck flew underneath the radar, that no one was aware of it, so no one was prepared for it, no one sided for it. There's a reason why you had 9 Crimsons in Top Cut, and all of it were the pro players, because they knew what they were doing, but anyone who wasn't in their circle, like, get my tinfoil hat out, but I mean, they knew what was up beforehand. I feel if this deck doesn't get hit, it's gonna really limit a lot of future game design, because just generic red, like the leader is locked to only being able to play red battle cards. So if you get more generic good red stuff, we're gonna fall into the Mecha Frieza issue of having a generic leader that can just abuse a lot of different things.
Is there any shout outs you want to do before we wrap up?
Shout out to my Team Rays. Shout out to my sponsor store, Galaxy Gaming in Houston. Best locals to go to if you're ever in Texas. We play on Wednesdays. And just shout out to all my friends that supported me and everything.
Thank you.
Wait. Don't go just yet. Be sure to follow me on Instagram at FNU7Glover. And don't worry, I'll follow back. Bye.